welcome to this episode 3. It's been a while. It's been over 3 months since the bodybuilding competition. This is a week out. I estimate myself around 10% body fat here, and this is basically the best I've ever looked. So I was quite proud of that, even though per bodybuilding standards this isn't up to par. For me, I'm very happy with this result. Have a look. Now, let me just say, it was a great experience. I learned a lot of things. I'm the guy with the arrow above his head, obviously. As you can see, the guy next to me, the scholar, absolutely mogs my legs, and like I have 0 hamstrings, but very impressive. I refuse to do modern posing, so I literally just pose like the classic old school 70s, 80s golden era. But yeah, listen to this music, guys. It's
You want to turn to the right?
so that's what we're dealing with. That music is it says enough. Like, all right, this is my side chest. I think my side chest is the most classic side chest there. I think my arms are pretty good. I think my chest is pretty good. My legs need a lot of work, and I have been hammering them a lot. So overall, great experience. Never gonna do it again. No, I'm just kidding. I'm probably gonna do this when I think I look good enough. But I don't like that posing. Modern bodybuilding is not my shtick, but we knew that, so. Now I have a little presentation for you that's going to show you how to get lean the least stressful way, the Peaty way, if you will. So that's going to take about 10 minutes, pretty long, but if you want to get lean without wreaking havoc on your metabolism, then I suggest that you watch this.
The model to get lean the right way, in my humble opinion and experience. So the stress, what is this? Stress is a lack of nourishment. Excuse that, this board, wobbly as frick. And it's an excess of, let's call it toxins. And by toxins, I don't just mean like microplastics, radiation, fluoride in the water, that type of stuff, but also, let's say people. If you have a very annoying boss that's up your ass all the time, that's going to be very stressful. So that is distress. So in order to deal with these stressors of life, which is inherent in life, and this is something even most Peters get wrong, too many anyway, they think they have to avoid all stress. That is not the case. You want to equip yourself with enough nourishment. And we know what this is, you know, nutrition, sunlight, good people as well, adequate sleep, all that type of stuff. Your minerals, your vitamins, we know what that is. And it's basically a, for lack of better term, a detoxed environment. So my fucking handwriting is all over the place. It's literally schizophrenic handwriting. It goes from one type to another. But so that's basically what the vitality part means. Nourishment and a detoxed environment. Stress is a lack of nourishment and excess toxins within your reality bubble, so to speak. So every time we expend energy, we go into a stress state. And every time we nourish, we recuperate. So you basically have this line down the middle. I probably need more colors, but I only have black. So what most people do, Peters probably have guessed this, when they want to lose weight, because this guy is 30, right? And he's been working 9 to 5 for 10 years, eating all the seed oils. His metabolism is down the drain. He is getting an average, let's say, 3,000 calories a day. And he's 20% body fat, and he's like skinny fat. And he's like, hey, I want my body back. I want my 20-year-old body back. What happened? So he YouTube, and some asshole tells him, you gotta work out harder. You gotta cut calories. You have to have even more stress. So he's 20% body fat here, and he starts his, let's say it's a 3-month trajectory, and he's already stressed out. And so, bam, he goes deep into stress. And then he only has that amount of nourishment as he had before. Like he has even less because he's cutting calories, right? And he goes deep into stress because he's working out more. And he still has that 9 to 5. And so in the final month, he's in like, let's say he's getting 1,800 calories a day now. So he's in the 1,200 calorie deficit daily. So here he's at 1,800 kcal. Which is insane, right? So he's done that for 3 months. Yay, you reached 10% body fat, amazing. Worked his ass off. So the problem is he's dying. Well, he's not dying, but he was already stressed, like his metabolism was already low. Now he's got to eat again, else he will eventually die, because this is like proper starvation, especially with his schedule. So this has to go back up. But now, because this was so stressful, this line, this vertical line down the middle, he pulled it back even further down the drain into stress. So instead of becoming more and adequately nourishing yourself, he became less of who he is. And now he can't even eat 3,000 calories anymore by the end of this. He's now at 2,600 calories a day. That's a bit extreme, but it can happen. I've known keto people that did the keto diet. They lost a ton of fat within 6 months, looked pretty amazing. Now they can't even handle this amount of calories anymore as a meal. And that's just really shitty, because this is going to probably take, to get back to his previous baseline, his base state, it's probably going to take him longer than the 3 months it cost him to get that lean. So, you might be able to get away with this once or twice or thrice if you're young, or you had a really good upbringing and really good health from your parents. I believe they call it genetics these days, the health your parents give you. And so, anyway, that's I think that makes sense. I hope it does. So now let me show you what I do and what I think is the correct way of doing it. And even too many Peters get this wrong. So, like I said, they think you have to avoid all stressors. That's not the case. You want to be very specific about the type of stress you're getting. And this comes back to distress versus eustress. And that basically means you want to nourish yourself adequately enough so that you can deal with the stressors of life. You nourish yourself until you feel well rested and ready, and then you expose yourself to some stress. And you don't let that stress exceed more, like you're barely crossing this line. It's this one. Like, it's getting messy, but I hope you can follow. So you slightly cross that stress line, your baseline every time, but not too much. Like for a bodybuilder, he basically wants all his stress to be in the gym. And he builds all his nutrition and routines around that so that he has that capacity to deal with the stress from the gym. He doesn't want some nagging boss or wife or whatever going on. And that's, it all happens. Life throws you curveballs. So it can happen, and it does happen. But you still want to be adequately equipped to not let that pull you back into stress too far that you can't actually deal with it. You want to stay as much into vitality and out of the stress, basically. This should be pretty common sense, but it's not, right? Which is crazy, but that's because everyone's baseline is so far pulled back down the drain. So rather than exposing yourself to more and more stress to get to that body fat percentage, you're giving yourself more nutrition and more nourishment, and you're very specific about the type of stressors you have to push yourself into becoming more vitality. Now, this does not mean a caloric surplus of 2,000 calories, because then you're just going to get fat, which is estrogen, and that is actually pulling you into stress. So it's not about calories in, calories out, right? It's about the optimal amount of nutrition that you need to just barely touch this baseline. It's like the middle path, and you want to be right around that. But most people are on this side, and as they age, they keep pulling themselves more and more into becoming less. You want to push yourself into becoming more. Now, the current environment, that this reality currently, the current state, it seems to be very harsh. And I believe that in the past, maybe thousands of years ago, during a vapor canopy, the atmosphere was a lot more allowing, a lot more beneficial. So the CO2 was higher, the oxygen was higher, all the other stuff in the air was higher, more conducive. So you might have been able to get away with being a vegan, eating a spoon of honey a day and being all right. Taking one breath, and being able to run for 10 minutes. Who knows? That's a topic for another day. I'm going on a tangent here. Sticking to this, I want to make this very practical. So what it looks like, what I'm doing right now, instead of giving myself 3 months, I'm going to give myself 6 months to a year, as long as it takes. And instead of counting calories, I'm not counting at all. It has its place to know what you're getting. Like, I found out eggs are really high in fat. That's useful to know. So counting calories has a place and a purpose, but once you've done that for a couple of weeks, you know. So I'm not counting any calories at all. I'm just eating until I'm like, I could eat more, but I'm all right. And instead of doing extreme cardio, I'll go for a 30-minute walk, or I'll up the volume a little bit in the gym, or the intensity, whatever it is. And then slowly, using my physique and the mirror as a guide to see how things are going, and how I feel, because I'm in touch with how I feel, I use that as a way to make progress and lose body fat slowly over time. Right? Does that make sense? Give yourself some time, guys. I mean, like this guy in the example, the 30-year-old, he's been fucking up for 10 years, and he's giving himself 3 months to get to his ideal physique. If you've been fucking up for 10 years, give yourself a little bit more time than 3 months. Give yourself a year. Give yourself 2, 3 years. Maybe even 5 years if you're lucky to get back to like that baseline that you were at when you were 20. It took me many years, and I'm still improving. So, I hope that makes sense. I think I'm forgetting something, but this is plenty long. This is my model for the Peaty way, basically. The wizard's way. Ray Peaty is a wizard, man. He was. So, hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. If you have any questions for the next episode, leave them in the comments. Thank you. See you.